This is Vysh from Vysh IAS, and we are going to continue the RS Sharma series. Chapter 8 is uploaded, that is the later Vedic period, and now we are going to do the chapter 9. Just one important thing I want to tell you, the test series PDF is already there for you to purchase from our Facebook page or just by emailing us. The details are already explained through another video. It was uploaded yesterday, and we have got great response already, and we would like to thank all those students who have shown faith in our quality of questions. Anyway, if you have been following our Facebook page, you would already know the content, the questions, the revision charts, whatever we have been giving, and now we have compiled everything and we are giving it to all the serious aspirants. So I'll put the link in the description box. Please click on that link and watch that video for more details, and then contact me to get those PDFs. Okay, so today we'll see chapter 9, that is Buddhism and Jainism. It's a very important chapter and favorite topic of UPSC. So let's begin as usual from the actual PDF, which you can download from Google. So chapter 9 is Jainism and Buddhism. It's a little bit lengthy chapter, so I'll go fast. So actually, up to later Vedic period, there was this dominance of Brahmanas. Okay, Brahmins were dominating, and the four Varna system was there, and the society was a little bit of deteriorating, you can tell. So something new had to emerge, and that is when Buddhism and Jainism will come. We'll see in detail how it came. So this is the causes of origin. So first they are telling about the four Varnas, that is the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Okay, and by birth it was, okay, it's not by occupation, it is by birth it is decided. And so there was this over dominance by the Brahmanas, and they functioned as priests and teachers, and they claimed high status in the society. They demanded privileges, then that gift, dakshina, women, slaves, cattle, land, precious jewels, gems, everything they were taking as gift. Okay, so the Brahmanas were dominating them, and they were also exempted from taxes. Okay, like even now we know the religious places and all are exempted from taxes. So such kind of things and all were started at this time only, the later Vedic period. So another thing is so that is about Brahmanas. Next is Kshatriyas. So Kshatriyas were ranked second in the Varna hierarchy, and they were like involved in war and had collection of taxes. They even had an officer for collecting taxes. Try to recollect the name, it is there in the previous video. Then the third one is Vaishyas, who were engaged in the trading. Okay, the merchant class, you can tell, that is the Vaishyas. The Vaishya term is derived from the term VIS, Vis. Okay, Vis is actually like Jana, that is the tribal unit or the group of people. And then and they were actually the actual taxpayers, you can tell, because they are the working class. And then the last one will be the Shudras, that we'll see in the next paragraph. But before that, they are telling about some term called Dvija. Dvija means twice born. Okay, so these three classes, other than the Shudras, were considered as Dvija and twice born. Okay, and they were all allowed to do the Upanayana. Upanayana means that sacred thread, which Brahmanas and all were, right? That sacred thread ceremony that was allowed for all the three classes, but for Shudras it was not allowed, and they were kept outside the these all three classes. Okay, there was a clear demarcation between the three classes versus Shudras. Now they always appeared as domestic slaves, agricultural slaves, craftsmen, hired laborers. Okay, so very downtrodden kind of people and very miserable life they had, and they had to face all the cruelty and everything, and they were treated as untouchables. So all these things started at this time only, the later Vedic period. Now, so the Varna divided the society and created tensions. Same thing they are repeating. Ritualistic domination. Okay, now we'll see how the problem started. Okay, now the Kshatriyas, who were acted as rulers, however, reacted strongly against the ritualistic domination of the Brahmanas. A lot of the ritual ceremonies I taught you in the last video. So these things and all were not being tolerated by Kshatriyas now. Okay, they did not like this over dominance, so they started to react. So that is one reason. Okay, domination against the domination of the priestly class of the Brahmanas. Then, so if you see this Vardhamana Mahavira and Gautama Buddha, about which we will learn in detail in this chapter, these people are from the Kshatriya class only. So they left their kingdom and then went in search of actual truth or actual way of life, which should not have any dominance by anyone. So that is how the Jainism and Buddhism will begin. So this is the first reason they are telling. Then second reason they are telling us about the northeastern regions or the eastern regions, where rainfall was about 100 centimeter, and they wanted to clear the forest, and then they wanted to expand their agriculture. So for that they need iron access, and although some people lived in the area around 600 BC, they used implements of stone and copper. Okay, earlier they were using stone and copper, and later they used iron. That we have already seen in the last chapter, that it was called SHARMA or Krishna IAS, which means iron. Okay, simply if they tell IAS is actually copper or bronze implements, which was found in the early Rigvedic period. And so problem was like for this plowing and all, obviously you need bullocks, right? Bullock carts are required. But around this time, when the dominance of brahmanas, you can tell, that time the cattle actually started to get slaughtered also. We saw that in the last video, like gogna was a term where like guests who come to houses fed with cattle meat. So beef eating had started. So there was shortage of this cows and bullocks and all. So that was one reason why the farmers or the people in northeast and all started to protest. Okay, this whole culture of Brahmins. Okay, the way lifestyle. So that is so one reason we saw Kshatriyas. Second reason we are seeing this this thing, farmers related thing. Okay, the people were protesting. Then one more reason will come that I will show you. So the period saw a rise of large number of cities in the northeastern India. Okay, so many places are there: Kasaumbi, Allahabad, Kushinagar, Vaishali. These are all different places which emerged. Okay, and Rajgir also. Then earliest coins. If you see this picture, it's actually punch mark coins. Okay, at that time, earliest coins you can tell. Then Vaisyas also had problems. I'll tell you why. Because Vaisyas, these were people who were engaged in trade, right? And also they were acting as money lenders also. So they'll give the money to people and then they'll receive interest. But according to a Brahmanical code or Brahmanical text, what it said is they should not lend money to gain interest. So obviously the Vaisyas will not like it, right? So that is the third reason. One is Kshatriyas, one is farmers, and then is the Vaisyas. So almost every class is not happy with what is happening with the Brahman way of life. Okay, their rules, their dominance, nothing is being liked. Okay, these Brahmanical law books are called Dharma Sutras. That is one term you should know, Dharma Sutras. Then again, it's here there's no much important thing, that's why I'm not reading. New forms of social inequalities, property based misery, suffering, people were all having problems. Again, same thing. So it's again comparing with the industrial revolution and all, like it came with something and then destroyed everything. So people wanted to go back to the pre-industrial level. Like even now climate change and all, we tell right, we have to go back to the pre-industrial level. So that kind of thing, these people wanted to go back to the pre-Iron Age life. So that is the whole gist of this entire paragraph. I'm not reading it out. That is what they're trying to tell here. There's nothing relevant for prelims. So now they're starting the story of Jainism. Okay, so Vardhamana Mahavira, who was born in 540 BC in a village near Vaishali. Try to remember these names. Okay, names, this year, timeline, place, and all. Because when you compare Gautam Buddha, UPSC will put confusing statements because both are almost in the same timeline. So 540 BC, Vaishali, and his mother belonged to a Lichavi princess. Okay, we'll learn about these kingdoms and all later when we do Mahajanapadas. So Lichavi princess, and they were all connected with the royal family of Magadha. Okay, and okay, so this is about his birth. Lichavi princess is the mother, then Vaishali is the place, 540 BC is the timeline, and around 30 years of age, I think he left the house. Okay, till then he was living a normal life only. 30 years he left his house and wandered for about 12 years, and at the age of 42 or something, he got this perfect knowledge and like nirvana kind of things, enlightenment kind of thing. They are achieving it. So he's actually called as the Jinnah. Okay, here it's mentioned. Jinnah means the conqueror. That means he conquered misery and happiness. And it's also mentioned one term, Kaivalya. Okay, Kaivalya is actually again the same thing. Perfect knowledge, you can tell. Perfect knowledge or Kaivalya at the age of 42. So that is his story. It's just a gist. Okay, so this is his story, and he will for next I think 30 years he will be roaming around the entire India, like this place Kosala, Magadha, Mithila, Champa and all, and he is spreading all these things, his messages. And then at the age of 72 in 468 BC he passes away at the place called Pavapuri near modern Rajgir. Okay, so these places, okay, Vaisali he was born, Pavapuri he died, and in between he traveled a lot of places. Then this Jinnah means conqueror. Okay, such kind of terms are important for prelims. Now the doctrines of Jainism, there are 5 important doctrines, that is do not steal, do not do violence, do not tell lies, then do not acquire property, and one more is there, that is observe brahmacharya, okay, celibacy. So that 5th one was actually added by Mahavira, but all the other ones were added by his predecessors. Actually he is not the founder of Jainism. Okay, there is actually a concept called Tirthankaras. It's not given here, but there is something called Tirthankaras. So there are totally 24 Tirthankaras, and everybody will have a symbol also allotted to them, like this symbol means this person. So like that, Mahavira is the last one actually. He is the 24th Tirthankara, and his symbol is actually lion. Okay, that's not mentioned here. I'm telling you extra points. So that is about Mahavira, who is the 24th Tirthankara, and the person before him, that is 23rd Tirthankara, is Paraswa. Okay, it's mentioned here. Paraswa is his predecessor. Okay, And the first Tirthankara is Rishabdev. That also is not mentioned here. First is Rishabdev, and his son is actually the Bahubali. Okay, that is why we have that Mahamastabhisheka festival, which in current affairs you might have seen. It's a festival which happens only once in 12 years, and it is happening this year, 2018. So that is very, very important. He is considered as the son of Rishabdev. Okay. And that is the first Tirthankara. So the 24th is Mahavira, 23rd is Paraswa. Okay, a lot of extra facts I have told you. Please make a note of all this, because we will forget these kind of factual things. Then about the dressing style also, like Mahavira is the one who told like we should have discard the entire clothing itself. Okay, like that is what he believed in. The other Tirthankaras did not tell about those things, but he told about this celibacy also, and also discarding the clothes. And later it will be divided into two sects, actually two groups, that is the Shwetambaras and Digambaras. That is Shwetambara means, Shweta means white, so it's the people who will be wearing white clothes, and Digambaras will be the one who will be following what Mahavira told, that is discarding the clothes. Okay, so that is the two sect. We'll see more details about this sect now. So Jainism recognized the existence of God. So these are also very important, because Buddhism, you will later see, like they did not believe in the system of God. Okay, but Jainism believed in God, but placed the God lower than the Jinna, that is the conqueror, that is below Mahavira only the other gods existed. And also they believed that, not believe, but they did not condemn also. They did not go against the Varna system. They told like it is because you did something in the previous life, that is why you are born in a lower caste. So they were supporting the Varna system. But from the lower caste, you can come up to the higher caste by doing having faith, or by acquiring the right knowledge. Okay, so we have these three terms here: knowledge, liberation, and action. It's mentioned here. Knowledge, liberation, and action is the three ratnas, or the three gems. If you attain these things, you can strive, or you can move towards the higher caste from the lower caste. And you are in the lower caste because you did something wrong in the previous life. So this is the belief or system of Jainism. Okay, believed in God also, believed in Varna system also. And these three, knowledge, action, and liberation. In some textbook you will see like knowledge, faith, and conduct. Okay, KFC, you can remember like that, knowledge, faith, and conduct. But here it is mentioned knowledge, action, and liberation. So both are correct. Okay, three ratnas or three gems. Now the spread of Jainism. In Jainism, they allowed both men and women. Okay, both men and women were allowed to become the followers. About 14,000 were there. That's not a huge number actually, but 14,000 people were there as followers. And they did not actually have a clear-cut differentiation between Brahmanism. Okay, that is why it actually did not spread much, because as you saw, it's not opposing the Varna system. So obviously people will not like it. So that is why it did not have much followers. That is the reason they are giving. Now one important personality, Chandragupta Maurya, that is the founder of Maurya dynasty, or you can tell the grandfather of Ashoka. Okay, he is very important. We learn Maurya kingdom also in this textbook only. So he is the one who actually spread it in Karnataka. Okay, Karnataka is the place where we have that Mahamastabhisheka. The Savanabelgola is the place in Karnataka. Okay, where a 57-foot tall statue of Bahubali is there. So the Chandragupta Maurya is the one who actually went down to Karnataka and settled there, and he spread the Jainism. Okay, because of him only it became too much popular there in South, and even now it is followed. And the second cause of the spread of Jainism in South India is said to be the Great Famine. Okay, a famine happened actually in this place. Okay, after the death of Mahavira, 200 years after that, a famine happened, and it lasted for 12 years. So obviously some people will move out of the place, right? Will they move out of Magadha? So many people under the leadership of a person called Bhadrabahu, he went down to Karnataka. He went down and settled in Karnataka, somewhere in the south. Okay, they went down to south and they settled there. And then other people who were left behind, their leader was Stalabahu. So Bhadrabahu went south and Stalabahu remained in the north. And later these people will come back also. So when they came back, they had differences in opinion. Like some people were, the people from south, they went and told like you did not follow the religion properly. Many things were being told. So they had conflict. So to resolve that conflict, they had the first Jaina council. So that council is actually, it happened in Patliputra. But what happened is the Bhadrabahu people, that is the Digambaras, they boycotted the council. So you should know these kind of things. The first council was planned at Patliputra, modern Patna, and the Digambaras actually boycotted the council. So this is all about the Shwetambaras, Digambaras, the Jainist council, and the story of how they split. So this is and one important term here, Basadis. Okay, Basadis is actually Jaina monastic establishments which sprang up in the Karnataka region. Okay, and king were supporting them, and king were giving land grants also to them. So this is actually Basadis in the 6th century AD. Okay, 6th century AD. That is long after the time of Mahavira. Mahavira is there in the time of BC only. That is 300 BC, 400 BC. This is in the 6th century AD. And also in the now in the eastern region, the spread in Kalinga region also it was getting spread, because the patronage of the Kalinga king Kharavela was there. Okay, his patronage was there, so this expanded. Also in Tamil Nadu also it reached. So Jainism is born in India and it is spread across India at that time. Okay, even though now it is a minority, it is born in India and it has a lot of reach, although it is reducing. Other religions like Islam or Christianity, which came from outside, it is always increasing year by year, but Jainism and all, it is decreasing. So you should know such kind of things. India Yearbook will give you a lot of such facts. Now, contribution of Jainism. So they were the ones who had the first made the first serious attempt to mitigate the evils of the Varna system. So even though they did not completely go against the Varna system, they were actually telling about the evils or what is there in the Brahmana dominance and all those things. They were trying to make people realize, and they had their writings and their own languages also. Prakrit was the language which was used by the common people, and that is why they would use that to preach the doctrine, so that people will be attracted towards Jainism. And another thing, the religious literature was written in Ardha Magadhi. Okay, Ardha Magadhi is a language, a local language used there, and the texts were compiled in the 6th century AD in a place called Vallabi in Gujarat. Okay, that is where the text of Jainism was compiled in 6th century AD in the language Ardha Magadhi. Okay, the adoption of Prakrit by the Jainas helped the growth of the language and its literature. Okay, so Prakrit, Ardha Magadhi, Vallabi, these are the 3 takeaways from here. Then one important thing, there is a language called Sauraseni. Okay, this is a regional language which is developed out of the Prakrit. Okay, so from Prakrit, Sauraseni developed, and from Sauraseni, Marathi language developed. So you should know the parent language of Marathi, you can tell as Prakrit. Okay, not directly but indirectly, because Marathi is from Sauraseni and Sauraseni is from Prakrit. So this is also one factual thing which UPSC can pick it up. Now the Jainas composed the earliest important works in Apabhramsa, okay, and its first grammar. Again they are telling one more. So these keywords are important. Apabhramsa, Ardha Magadhi, these are all related to Jainism, Sauraseni. And then large portion of Jaina writing are still in form of manuscripts which have not been published. So again they are telling a lot of manuscripts are there in Gujarat, Rajasthan regions and all. And later they used Sanskrit also, okay. And they contributed to the growth of Kannada, in which they wrote extensively. So because it went into the south, Kannada also was used. So Prakrit, Sauraseni, Marathi, Apabhramsa, Ardha Magadhi, Sanskrit, Kannada. Too many languages are there in this just one paragraph. Now we'll see the story of Buddha. Okay, so the Buddha was born as Siddhartha, and Buddha is not his name. Okay, Buddha means enlightened person, so that we'll see. So Siddhartha is the person, and 563 BC he was born in a Shakya Kshatriya family. Okay, the other one you saw, it was Lichavi and Vaisali. Here it is Sakya and Kapilavastu. Okay, and Gautama's father was an elected ruler of Kapilavastu. Okay, so these also UPSC can pick. UPSC will not take this statement. Instead, what they'll do like they had some form of election to select the ruler. That is the statement which UPSC will put. You will study all these names and go, but UPSC will take the concept of it and ask. So please pay attention to each and every line. And Sakya, as I told you already, Kapilavastu is the place, and mother is a princess from Kosalan dynasty. Okay, so Sakya and Kosalan. Now Mahavira Gautama also belonged to a noble family, born in a republic. He also inherited some republic sentiments. Okay, from his republic means it's elected head. Okay, that is the meaning of republic. From his early childhood, Gautama showed a meditative bent of mind. He was married early, but married life did not interest him. So he was a married person, but he also, like Mahavira, will leave the house at the age of 29. Mahavira left at the age of 30, and then around the age of 35, he attained enlightenment under the Bodh Gaya, under the people tree in Bodh Gaya. Okay, these are all important. UPSC have asked multiple times these things, like where did he attain enlightenment and all. So it's the age of 35. There in Mahavira's case, it was the age of 42. Okay, where he got this enlightenment, or that Kaivalya or something, some term we saw. Okay, then Gautama Buddha delivered his first sermon at Sarnath. Okay, there are symbols associated with it. Try to find out the 5 symbols associated with 5 happenings of Buddha's life. Okay, the birth, the sermon, or the enlightenment and all. Then it's telling like he had a strong physique, and also he could walk 20 to 30 kilometers a day. So he traveled across the places there. Around 40 years he traveled, and he spread all his teachings and all. And during this long period he encountered many supporters, rivals, so many kind of people he encountered. That's what it's telling. Finally he will die in 483 BC at a place called Kushinagara. Okay, for Jaina's Mahavira case it was age of 72 at Pavapuri or something. Here it is Kushinagara. Okay, so do like this comparative study, just make a table and make a note just before prelims, read it. Okay, don't try to put more effort for this. Make a table and prelims, day before prelims, just revise it. doctrines of Buddhism, like we saw for Jainism, the three ratnas or the knowledge, action, liberation. Here Buddhism also has some things, okay. But here you should know they did not believe in God, they did not support the Varna system. It's all opposite of that, okay. And they believed in this nirvana or getting enlightenment, okay, by meditating. And one thing is there, the eightfold path, that is the Ashtangika Marga, which they call that eightfold path is important. It is like a lot of things are there. Try to memorize it. Right observation, right determination, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right exercise, right memory, and right meditation. All these are together called the eightfold path. And another thing, he did not believe in too much luxury also, and did not believe in too much austerity also. That means not rich, not poor, but in the middle. So middle path is also a teaching or a idea of Buddhism, okay, the middle path. Now the Buddha also laid down a code of conduct for his followers, okay. So like we saw there also, like 5 things were there, like do not steal, do not have do violence and all. Here same thing almost repeated, okay. Do not have property, do not commit violence, do not use intoxicants, do not speak a lie, do not indulge in corrupt practices, okay. And these teachings are common to the social conduct ordained by almost all religions. You know, every religion will tell almost the same thing only. So again, special features of Buddhism and the causes of its spread. Now you should know why it spread too much, okay. Here Buddhism is also one thing which was born in India, okay. So you should know how it spread and how it declined, because Buddhism is almost declined, right. Jainism still it is there, but Buddhism is almost declined. So you should know the entire spread of it. So here they are telling like the entry of women is one problem which created the whole decline. Women were admitted to the Sangha and thus brought on a par with men. Actually it was started for good thing only, but I will show you the story. In comparison with Brahmanism, Buddhism was liberal and democratic. Buddhism made a special appeal to the people of non-Vedic areas where it found a virgin soil for conversion. The people of Magadha responded readily to Buddhism because they were looked down upon by the orthodox Brahmanas, okay. So there were problems between Buddhism and Brahmanas, obviously. And then Holy Aryavarta, the land of the Aryavarta means the land of the Aryas, okay. Just a term I want to tell you. The personality of the Buddha and the method adopted by him to preach his religion helped the spread of Buddhism. He tried to fight evil by goodness and hatred by love. He refused to be provoked by slander and abuse. Okay, so he always had this calm mindset and all, and he knew how to respond to people. Okay, how much ever hatred or something, anger, whatever way people approached him, he knew to handle the situation. Some example is given, like what he is telling. It's not important. If you want, you pause it and read it. Okay, and the language used is Pali. Okay. Like there it was Prakrit in Jainism, now here it is Pali, and it facilitated the spread of Buddhism among the common people. And the Sangha or Sangha means religious order, okay. Gautama Buddha had this organized Sanghas, and everyone was allowed, any caste, any sex, everybody was allowed to enter into the Sangha. And once they were enrolled as members of the Buddhist church, they had to take the vow of continence, that is celibacy, okay, poverty and faith. Okay, actually there will be a lot of things which you learn in the NCERT textbook also. Video is already uploaded. Watch that. People will go like beggars or something onto the road and then beg for the food. Okay, so they believed in that kind of life. We should not have any possessions. We should go and beg for our own food. That is one concept of Buddhism. And then Buddhism made rapid strides even in the lifetime of the Buddha. The monarchies of Magadha, Kosala and Kausambi and several republic states and the people adopted this religion. So it was spreading too much in the Mahajanapadas or the kingdoms which were existing at that time because of the approach which Buddha did, the Siddhartha did. Okay. Later, after 200 years, that is after the death of Buddha, Mauryan king Ashoka, you know, he will be spreading Buddhism. Okay, after the Kalinga war and all, that is a different story, we'll learn it. He spread Buddhism across Central Asia, West Asia, Sri Lanka, and he made it a world religion. Till then it was just a local religion in India, but he made it a world religion. So it is all done by, it can be attributed to Ashoka, okay, the Mauryan king. Now the cause of decline which I told, okay. So the religion almost completely vanished from the country. So we have to see the causes once again. Buddhism underwent a similar metamorphosis. It became a victim to the evils of Brahmanism against which it had fought in the beginning. Okay, so it began just for fighting against the Brahmanas, and later Brahmanas itself overpowered them. Okay, overpowered the Buddhism. So to meet the Buddhist challenge, the Brahmanas reformed their religion. They stressed the need for preserving the cattle wealth and assured women and Shudras of admission to the heaven. So if you remember the reasons why Buddhism came, it was the problems inside Brahmanas, right? So Brahmanism, they started modifying their own religion. They allowed women entry now. They started to protect cattle now. So they started to repair themselves so that Buddhism will slowly go away. And then Buddhist people were cut off from the mainstream. So Brahmanas still had that dominance, okay. and Sanskritization also. Sanskrit was being promoted too much, and that is why it did not help Buddhism to grow. Then monasteries, Nalanda collected revenue from as many 200 villages. By the 7th century AD, the Buddhist monasteries had come to be dominated by ease-loving people and became centers of corrupt practices. So they are telling the Buddhist monasteries and all, which used to be very ideal at the time of Buddha, later became a corrupt institution. Okay, people were not following the actual teachings of Buddha, and it became a corrupt practice or corrupt institution. And Buddhism also came to be known as Vajrayana. Okay, at that time. And they had too much wealth, and women were also living, and women were considered as objects of lust now. Okay, so that is why women's entry, which I told you, it will later create problems, and then whatever Buddha had in mind did not work out, or it actually became a totally new ideology. Okay, the Vajrayana was a totally new ideology. So this is one line which Buddha tells his disciple named Ananda, that if women were not admitted into monasteries, Buddhism would live for, I think, 1,000 years or something, he will tell, would have continued for thousands of years. But because this admission has been granted, it would last only 500 years. So Buddha had clearly envisioned it and told it, like, if women were allowed to enter, this will happen, or it will cause the decline of Buddhism. So again, Turkish invaders came and attacked the monastery. So that is also one reason for this thing decline. Buddhist monks were killed in Nalanda by the Turkish invaders. So that was also another reason for the decline. Importance and influence of Buddhism. So again, Buddhism helped all those problems which the Brahmanas were creating, the caste system and all those things. The Buddhism will help them. The northeastern farmers, the Vaishyas, money lending, whatever we learned in first thing, same thing reverse they are telling. Okay, now everything is solved by Buddhism. That is what they are trying to tell in this whole paragraph. I am not reading it out, but problems were solved. People were trying to become happy. People were converting into it because there is no much conditions to go and enter into the Buddhist monastery. But later there is also a problem also will come. There were certain instances, that is in the later phase. Okay, after the time of Buddha, there are conditions being started to enter into the Buddhist monasteries. You can tell, like if you are a slave, you cannot enter. You have to take the permission of your master, and if you are a debtor or if you are in debt, then you have to take the permission of the creditor who gave you money. So that kind of very strange rules came. Okay, it's not mentioned clearly here. I think in the NCERT it is mentioned. So such things, what happened is, like, people now could not enter into the Sangha properly. Here some points are mentioned here. The rule that debtors were not permitted to the members of the Sangha naturally helped the moneylenders and the richer sections. Okay, so now the moneylenders know, like, people cannot go and escape into the Sangha. So that kind of strict rules came in, and that is why the monasteries also started declining. Okay, people started losing faith in the Sangha because people are not allowed to enter, and lot of conditions are being set. Then, although the Buddhist monks had renounced the world and repeatedly criticized the greedy Brahmanas, in several ways they resembled the Brahmanas also. Both of them did not participate directly in production and lived in the arms of gift given by society. Okay, so these people, Buddhists, I told you, they are also going and begging for food. They are not working hard. They are not self-sustaining or something. They are also going and begging food and expecting donations and trying to survive. Then what is the difference between Buddhists and Brahmanas? So these kind of similarities also was one negative aspect which caused the decline of the Buddhism, or people started losing faith in Buddhism. Okay, and individual salvation, nirvana, that is the ultimate objective, and private property, these are again same thing they are telling. Okay, so Buddhism made an important impact on society by keeping its door open to women and Shudras. Since both women and Shudras were placed in the same category by Brahmanas, they were neither given sacred thread nor allowed to read the Vedas. Their conversion to Buddhism freed them from mark of inferiority. So this is one good thing they are telling, like women and Shudras were treated badly by the Brahmanas, so they were entering into Buddhism and they were feeling freed. Okay, later also Ambedkar time, there is a mass conversion into Buddhism. That is a totally different thing. Post independence India, when we are learning, we'll see that. So mass conversion happened. People were all, because Dalits, they were suffering by being under the Hindu religion. Okay, that is why they had a mass conversion to Buddhism. Okay, under B.R. Ambedkar. Now, one important thing you have to know, the text. Okay, Sutta Nipata is one textbook which declares the cattle to be givers of food, beauty and happiness. Okay, because the cattle, cow and all is in news, you should know this. Sutta Nipata is a Buddhist text actually. Buddhist text which declares that the cattle to be givers of food, beauty and happiness. Okay, Ananda, Varnada, Sukhada. Okay, that is some term, the same thing, food, beauty and happiness. And thus pleads for their protection. This teaching came significantly at the time when the non-Aryans slaughtered animals for food, and the Aryans in the name of religion. Okay, so as I told you, the Brahmanas were like killing animals for their sacrifice, and non-Aryans were killing them for beef eating and all. So that is the time when Buddhism emerged. Buddhism created and developed a new awareness in the field of intellect and culture. It taught the people not to take things for granted, and it's all the same thing. Okay, I think they are just summarizing it. superstition was taken by logic and enriched Pali language. And then the early Pali literature can be divided into three categories. Okay, the first contains the sayings and teachings of the Buddha. The second deals with the rules to be observed by members of the Sangha, and the third presents the philosophical exposition of the Dhamma. This is actually the concept of Buddha, Sangha, and Dhamma. Okay, you would have heard that Buddham Sharanam Gacchami and all. So that Buddham, Sangha, and Dhamma, three concepts, the three one-line definitions of it. Okay, it's important. UPSC can ask you question. Buddha is teachings, Sangha is the rules, and Dhamma is the philosophical exposition. Okay, try to make a note of that. The literary activities of the Buddhist monks continued even in the Middle Ages, and some famous Apabhramsa writings in East India were composed by them. The Buddhist monasteries developed as great centers of learning and can be called residential universities. Mention may be made of Nalanda and Vikramshila. So these are two universities, Nalanda, Vikramshila, and Vallabhi in Gujarat we have already seen in the time of Jainism. So these are important residential universities where people will stay there and then study. Okay, Buddhism left its mark on the ancient India. The first human settlement worshipped in India were probably those of Buddha. The faithful devotees portrayed the various events in the life of Buddha in stone. Okay, the panels found at Gaya in Bihar and at Sachi and Bharuch in Madhya Pradesh were illuminating examples of artistic activity. So later the statues came up, the idol worship came up, and Gandhara art, Madura art, that's a portion of art and culture. Okay, we would have seen that in various other chapters also. So there different statues and different versions of Buddha came up. Okay, the Greek version is the Gandhara version, and the Indian sculptors worked together to create a new kind of art in the northwestern frontier of India, which is known as the Gandhara art. The images made in this region betray Indian as well as foreign influence. For the residents of the monks, rooms were hewn out of the rocks, and thus began the cave architecture in the Barabar Hills in Gaya. So Barabar Hills in Gaya is again art and culture topic. It is the rock made residence, okay, the cave kind of residence of the Buddhist. You know something called Viharas and Chaityas in Ajanta caves, Ellora caves and all. You will know these kind of terms, Viharas and Chaityas. Vihara means a place where these people will stay, and Chaityas is the place of worship. And obviously Viharas will be more than the Chaityas. Such statements UPSC have asked in the past, that's why I am telling you. Okay, this is the entire thing about this chapter. Pause this and read these questions. I will show you MCQs, which is more important. Okay, so the first question for today: which of the following are reasons for rise of Buddhism and Jainism in the 6th century BC? Okay, first one: Brahmanas lost their significance. Brahmanas cattle sacrifice for rituals. Non-Aryans cattle sacrifice for food. Brahmanical code of law which says money should not be lent to gain interest. So tell me whether all four are true or if anyone is wrong. Okay, so that is the first question. Now we'll see the second question: which of the following are true with respect to Jainism? Jainism used Prakrit language to communicate with masses. Jain scriptures are compiled in Ardhamagati. Jain scriptures were compiled at Vallabhi, Gujarat. Punjabi language was later developed from Saurasini language, which was in turn developed from Prakrit. Literature in Kannada language flourished because of the Jain scripts being written in it. So whether all five are true, or do you think one or two or three are false? Just tell the correct answer in the comment section. One more question for today. Suttanipata, an early text that says cattle to be givers of food, beauty and happiness. This text belongs to which religion? Okay, you have to tell this. Now these questions you have seen now immediately after the lecture will be appearing very easy, but if you have the PDF which you bought from me and then you practice, that time you will understand how difficult it is to recollect all these things. That is why I am telling you, buy the test series today itself. Many students, very serious students, have shown interest and they have bought. Initially they bought only the polity series and they were very much impressed by the polity series which I launched last week, and that is why they have come up and readily buying all my test series PDFs. So please buy it. The link I will be putting in the description box. Contact today itself because the price will be hiked after 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. So I'll come with the next video soon. Till then, enjoy your learning. Thank you and have a nice day.